Hello, this is Russell from Russell Tracy Photography, and today I want to continue with my sports theme by talking about backgrounds. So, backgrounds are important in any aspect of photography, but specifically in sports, it can be a little bit challenging because of the fields that you're on or where you have to shoot from, stuff like that. A couple little pointers are when you get to wherever you're going to be shooting, get there early, and if it's not some place that you shoot, a couple days a week or weekly or something like that, get there early, walk around, and just look and see stop, look, and see if you shoot from that position, what's going to be in the background. There's things that you want to look for, like parking lots and buildings and porta potties, trash cans, dumpsters, stuff like that. All kinds of things that you wouldn't necessarily want to be in the background. You don't necessarily want to shoot from those positions. You want to get a nice clean background. Nice clean background could just be just woods, or if there is a building in the background, just like a brick wall or something like that of a building. There's a lot of good and bad backgrounds, and I'm going to show you a couple here. So this one, we have a soccer photo, but I almost perfectly framed this big blue truck in the background, which when I look at this photo, the first thing I see is this big blue truck. Pretty terrible background. I should have moved. This was a couple years ago. Same thing for this one. You got this bus in the parking lot in the background. If I had shot from the other end, if I had been shooting facing this way, I would have had woods in the background. Moving on, this LPGA, not really much. Now, there are some situations where there's not much that you can do. Golf is one of those because there's a lot, there's thousands of people there, and you kind of have to fight for your spot between the photographers and stuff like that. But this big red umbrella and this guy standing directly behind her, if I had moved right maybe 5-10 feet, probably would have been a cleaner background. I can get over the railing and everything like that. It's just this guy standing right behind her just bothers me. It just doesn't look good. Same thing for this one. This parking lot in the background. Now, like I was saying, sometimes you just have to deal with it. This parking lot, no matter which side of the home plate that I stood on and shot from, this parking lot was so large it stretched pretty much the entire field of view from the field. Now, there's a couple things that you can do to help with your background. So, like I was saying with this one, if I had moved 5 feet to my right, 5 or 10 feet to my right, I might have had a cleaner background. So we'll take this one, for example. This is a biathlon I shot. So this is a running stage, and they were coming back to switch over to their bikes. But, it's a pretty decent shot. You can see some runners here in the background. But there's this fence right here. Might not be too terribly distracting, but in contrast, I moved forward down the trail, so I moved this way down the trail and got this shot instead. So now you can see the actual path wrapping around, where before it just kind of disappeared off the side of the frame and then came back. This one here, you can see the trail wrapping around. You have all the runners, drifting off into the background, but there's no fence. Same thing for this one. Pretty decent action, kind of busy, but you got this big white building. This is the press box and concession stand. I switched to the other side of the field, just switched sides of the field, and immediately changed from this big white background, this big white press box, to nice clean wooded background. So that's what I was talking about with just walk around the field and see what your background's going to be, and pick a good spot that's going to have a good background. Here's another one. The pink shirt in the background with the yellow rope going across. That's I should have moved. I didn't. In contrast, here's like the next tee, which just woods in the background. So that's the difference right there between, a clean background and not clean background. It's pretty much the same shot. It's just, you've got a better background in this one. Now, like I was saying with baseball and a couple sports, the background, you can't always control what's in the background, but there's a couple things that you can do. One of the things that you can do is you can shoot with a wide open aperture. So if you have an f2.8 lens, shoot at f2.8, because what f2.8 is going to do is it's going to decrease the depth of field, so it creates more bokeh in the background. Here's an example of that. So this was shot at f2.8 or f3.5. This was the middle of the day, and this is why in my other video I suggested getting a camera that can shoot over 1/4000th of a second, because if you're shooting middle of the day, this was like a noon game at f2.8, 1/4000th might not cut it. I don't remember off the top of my head what this was shot at, but you can see there's real good separation between the pitcher here and the background. So your eye is drawn to the pitcher, but it's not distracted. Even though there's a lot of people in the stands here, you're not distracted by all the people. Here's a couple other examples of that. This was Chelsea AC Milan Premier League soccer. This was a friendly that they played at M&T Bank, and there's 90-some thousand people here. But shooting a shallow depth of field allowed me to blow out the background and the stands with all the people in it. So your eyes are drawn immediately to the action and not all the clutter in the background. Just another example. A couple other examples. Now this was at M&T Bank Stadium as well, and he was walking towards me. He was probably about 15, 20 feet away from me and about 150 feet from the far stands. So you got just all this in the background. This was all people. But this was shot at f2.8 or f2.8 or f3.5, something like that. But he's tack sharp, but you can't tell that those are people in the background. Now, backgrounds can also add to your photos. So you don't always have to have a perfectly clean background like these, or like this. Backgrounds can add to the photo as well. So, for example, this one right here, number 2, this was after Northwestern won the NCAA Division I lacrosse championship. Obviously, she's holding the NCAA trophy, and obviously these are all Northwestern fans. So she's holding the trophy up, and they're cheering. So in this case, the background added to the photo. Same thing for this one. This is kind of more of a foreground thing, but you can see here, I was focused right here on this line of players, these 4 players. So you have the umpire, the runner, the first baseman, and the first base coach. But you can see that the people in the stands are still out of focus, and the pitcher's out of focus, but your focus is still on these four players right here. I think I was actually focused right here on the first baseman. But it just adds a level of interest. It's, in my opinion, it's not distracting because you can tell what's going on. The pitcher's checking first base, checking the runner at first base. Same thing for this one. The referee in the background, you can still obviously tell that he's here. Now this guy right here coming into the corner of the frame is distracting, but you can the referee here, the umpire, you can tell that he's got his full focus on this play. He's staring right at this play happening, seeing where, the runner goes down, seeing if the ball comes out and stuff like that. Another one where I framed Ray Lewis here. The background's blown out, so it's not distracting, but I framed him between these two offensive linemen. Just another thing that you can do. Pretty busy background in this one, but again, it adds to the photo because this is the finish. You can see all these people, they're smiling, they're enjoying this race because, the finish line was right where I was standing. But it adds to the photo. Same thing here. You've got Maryland celebrating in the background with the Navy, two guys from Navy walking by. Maryland just won. I think they won 17-14. It was a pretty close game. But again, it's not, you can use those foreground and background elements to enhance the photo. You can tell that they're excited and they're just kind of walking defeated off the field. Now, typically I like to shoot from the field from a low angle. Now, I also like to look at different angles and stuff like that. One of your choices is you can shoot from up high. Typically, I like to shoot low. Gives the players more aggressive feel. People sit in the stands, so they know what it looks like to look down on to the play, but they don't always know what it looks like to, like this, to look at field level. Or like this from, see the play from the field. But one of the advantages that you have from shooting above is you get really nice clean backgrounds because all you have is the field in the background. Same thing for this one. See if we can look at both of these. You can see that, it's nice clean background, good action. This one's interesting because you've got his shadow right here, stuff like that. This isn't one of those things where I would recommend that you sit in the stands and shoot the whole game. But if you want to add interest to your shots, it's always an option. This one I actually shot from on top of the press box. And this one I shot from the concourse, so I was a little lower on the angle for this one. But it's just one of those options that you have. So again, just to recap a little bit, when you get to the game, walk around the field, see what's in your backgrounds. Pick a background that's not distracting, that's going to add to the photos. It's not going to take away from the photos. Look outside the box, see how you can incorporate the background elements into the photo to make the photos more interesting. And if if all else fails and you get a background like this where there's nothing you can do, shoot wide open. Stop your lens down to f2.8, shoot wide open, and just blow the background out so there's good separation between the actual action and what's in the background if it's distracting. That's pretty much all I got for today. If you have any comments, questions, anything that you want to see, go ahead and leave a comment below, or you can send me a message. My contact info is in the description. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. This is Russell from Russell Tracy Photography. Have a good day.